Alright, here we are, guys, back for another tutorial. And let's see here. So the first thing that I'm going to put priority here is Guardian. And there's kind of two different versions here. It's a Guardian 2 to 5 and also a 6 Plus. It's going to be the separate one. For this hole, I kind of like that shot just a tiny bit more. It's very, very close, though. Alternatively, we can use Sniper 5. Let's go get our hammerhead here. So for our hammerhead, we're going to need just a 1. All these hammerhead and cataclysms, they already start off with quite a bit of spin. The only reason, the cataclysm kind of goes to the bottom is because the accuracy is so low for such a long time. So you'll see that I'll push that down. And the way that you're going to play this is going to vary. With the Guardian 2 shot, what I try to do with that's the first one that we'll talk about, is I try to land right here towards the front as much as I can and then use my max backspin. So that's what you'll see here. Is I'm just going to, talk about this one first. And in terms of my adjustment, I need to go, for side wind, we're going to need to go at least max plus 10 in this case. For a tailwind, same thing. Max plus 10. This is definitely the second T here. And for a headwind case, you're going to need to go even more. So maybe max plus 20, max plus 30, somewhere in there, for that adjustment. And as I mentioned, when you set up to land on this original spot here, what you'll usually get is with the max spin, is you'll just get these small bounces. And that's kind of, first to second to third to fourth, and then it'll just kind of just stop. There won't be much rollout at all, which is what makes this shot so effective. Is if you play your ring adjustment right, it's not good for getting the hole-in-one, which this is actually kind of a hard hole, especially since they did the redesign to get a hole-in-one now. So the most important thing is that you get it close. So what I'll try to do is up that backspin to where I don't even need to use the ball guide, and we'll just try to stop it close to the hole, factoring in, and we'll play wind effect. So for instance, I'm going to play very close to a max wind, maybe about 1 per 4 miles per hour, 1 green grid. So if the wind's a 10, then maybe I'll offset maybe 3 green grids to the right. If it's a side wind coming into the left, and we'll just, let that ball guide stop right around the hole. Alternatively, you may not be able to use this shot. With a Guardian 6, let's talk about that case. I'll try to get this right up on the front of the green. Now, this is ideal because when you land on the front of the green here, you're going to be able to have a lot more control over the trajectory of the bounce. It's going to basically bounce however the wind effect is playing. So if the wind is downwind, then it's going to, it's going to land and roll out towards the, you'll just have to maybe use a little bit of curl and get it to kind of work over towards the left or whatever. But you just need to make sure that you land on the front of that green. Gives you much more control over the shot. And that's one of the reasons. And in terms of my spin, we'll be using max for a Guardian 6. We'll be using max for a 2 in this the alternative case, which was this one, when it lands more about here. But ideally, we want to shift this up and be able to land here on this front, because it's going to give us much more control. However, the difference between this shot and this shot is you need that extra 20 backspin. Another thing this also avoids is the guys who are playing sniper. Playing this shot avoids you getting shot copied. So even if your opponent's second, first, or whatever, he has to hit a different shot than you if he doesn't have this club engaged. So that's one of the more beneficial things about this. So let's talk about, kind of sniper here. The way that you're going to have to play a sniper is going to be a little bit different. You're going to land much shorter, and you're going to do, kind of second hop here and just kind of run it out. And what I'll usually use for this one is maybe about 2 backspin will be my base case. So I'll try to kind of stick to 2 and maybe, towards the headwind. We might come down to as much as maybe 1 to 1.1 1/4, somewhere in there. So it still has enough run out to actually run out towards the hole. And then, towards the tailwind case, we might crank this up a little bit, get it up to about 2.5, but we still want to make sure that we have just a little bit of rollout to run out. And the way that you see that this lands is it'll land kind of here, and you'll want to kind of ride this fringe or very close to the fringe and just shoot up towards the hole. There's much less slope than there used to be. So, you do want to avoid kind of getting the ball too left, but you do want to get the ball back over towards the left-hand side because it still does feed down towards the right. So that's basically what you're looking for doing for that sniper shot. However, my priority for this hole, it's a little bit easier with the Guardian, and especially being able to land on this green. You have a lot of control over the way that you can get this to play out, and you can just kind of, this is going to be kind of my number one shot, is just land it here, second hop here, third hop, fourth hop, and just bring it in with a little bit of curl to get it to stop right on the hole, or very consistently, within 2 yards when you play this proper adjustment. And the way that you do this adjustment isn't going to vary too much. Down towards this first one here with this sniper, you might need to come off of these adjustments just a little bit. So you may use max for this blue tailwind, sidewind. You might just use very close to max. And then down here, you might go maybe max plus 10 in this bottom case. Because the ball's not in air as long, it's going to need a less of an adjustment. So good luck with this hole, guys, and see you guys on the next one.